The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Zekthor's tentacles writhed with satisfaction. The massive Krillian had just delivered what he considered the final blow to humanity's petition for membership in the prestigious alliance. Humans fear war, Zekthor declared, his voice echoing through the crystalline halls. Their historical records show they actively seek peace, sign treaties, and avoid conflict whenever possible. Such weakness has no place among the warrior races of the galaxy. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled delegates. The reptilian Vashidi nodded their scaled heads, while the insectoid Zephyrians clicked their mandibles in approval. Even the ethereal Luminos, beings of pure energy, flickered with what could only be interpreted as consent. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood motionless at the human delegation's podium, her dark eyes scanning the room with an expression that made several delegates shift uncomfortably. The silence stretched for long moments before she spoke, her voice calm and measured. "You are correct, Ambassador Zekthor. Humans do fear war." She paused, letting the admission hang in the air. "But you have made a fundamental error in your understanding of what that means." The Krillian's tentacles stiffened. "Fear is weakness, human. Your species—" "Fear," Sarah interrupted, her voice cutting through the chamber like a blade, "is wisdom." She activated the holographic display behind her, showing images of Earth's history. "We fear war because we know its true cost. We have fought ourselves for millennia, learned every possible way to kill, maim, and destroy. We understand war not as glory or honor, but as necessity's ugliest child." The first image showed ancient battlefields, then medieval sieges, then the mechanized slaughter of the world wars. The delegates watched in growing unease as the human capacity for violence unfolded before them. "You see our peace treaties and think us weak," Sarah continued. "You see our negotiations and call us cowards. But you fail to understand that every treaty we sign, every diplomatic solution we seek, is not born from fear of fighting. It's born from the terrible knowledge of how efficiently we can kill." The display shifted to show human soldiers in various conflicts. Their faces held a grim determination that made the watching aliens uncomfortable. These were not the expressions of beings who feared death. These were the faces of creatures who had made peace with it. "The Zephyrian Empire," Sarah said, turning to address the insectoid delegation directly. "You pride yourselves on your warrior culture. Your greatest champions can kill 12 enemies in single combat. Impressive." Her smile was cold. "A single human soldier with proper equipment can eliminate hundreds of targets in minutes. Not because we're stronger, not because we're faster, but because we've spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of killing our own species." The Zephyrian delegates' compound eyes focused intently on the human ambassador. "The Vashidi Confederacy boasts of ships that can glass planets," Sarah continued. "We've done that too. The difference is, we did it to ourselves. We built weapons capable of ending our own civilization, and then had the wisdom to step back from the brink, not because we couldn't use them, but because we knew exactly what would happen if we did." The hologram now showed the aftermath of nuclear weapons, the devastation of cities. The long shadows burned into concrete. The chamber was utterly silent. "You want to know about human warfare?" Sarah's voice dropped to barely above a whisper, but every being in the chamber heard her clearly. "We don't just fight to win. We fight to ensure our enemies never threaten us again. We don't simply defeat our opponents, we study them, understand them, and then systematically dismantle not just their ability to fight, but their will to continue fighting." The display shifted one final time, showing human peacekeepers, medical corps, and relief workers. "And when the war is over, we rebuild our enemies better than they were before. Not because we're merciful, but because we've learned that a defeated enemy who becomes a friend is infinitely more valuable than a graveyard." Ambassador Zekthor's tentacles had gone pale. You're saying humans are more dangerous than we thought?" "No," Sarah replied, her expression softening slightly. "I'm saying humans are exactly as dangerous as we need to be. We fear war because we're very, very good at it. We seek peace because we understand that our capacity for violence must be tempered by wisdom." She looked around the chamber, meeting the gaze of each delegation. "You see weakness where there is strength. You see fear where there is wisdom. You see a species that avoids conflict and assume we can't fight. But we don't avoid conflict because we're afraid of losing. We avoid it because we're afraid of winning." The silence that followed was profound. Finally, the eldest member of the Luminos spoke, their voice like distant thunder. What do you mean by that, Ambassador Chen? Sarah's smile was sad now. Because when humans truly commit to war, when we stop fearing it and embrace it, we don't just win. We transform the very nature of conflict itself. And the galaxy isn't ready for what we become when we stop holding back. The vote for humanity's inclusion in the Galactic Council was unanimous. 3 months later, when the Devourers, a parasitic race that had consumed 17 systems, invaded Council space, the galaxy learned exactly what Ambassador Chen had meant. The Devourer fleet that had seemed unstoppable was eliminated in 72 hours by a human task force that seemed to anticipate their every move, counter their every strategy, and respond to their every adaptation with casual, terrifying efficiency. The surviving Devourer ships fled to the galactic rim and were never seen again. And in the aftermath, as human relief ships arrived to rebuild the damaged systems, the galaxy finally understood. Humans didn't fear war because they were weak. They feared it because they were the most dangerous thing in the cosmos, and they knew it.